My 30 FBF 30 meters, completely out of the blue said he knows I wouldn't care if he dumped me. We've never argued and were having a nice night. He refused to discuss it. What can I do? Together 3 years. I'm with my second boyfriend in life and I really thought I was doing a great job at being his GF. I'm extremely loyal and I always give a relationship 100%. We never argue, I don't nag or snap, and I try to be really supportive towards his goals and listen to his problems, etc. I also try to take an interest in this he likes. For example, he likes watching TV and fishing, catch and release. I used to hate TV but saw how much he likes it, so I started trying to get into it, and I quite like it now. I never thought I'd like fishing but he wanted me to give it a go, so I did, and I quite like it and go with him sometimes. I learned to cook for him because he loves cooking. I don't really like it much and wouldn't bother if it was just me, but I like to do it for him. We split rent and bills evenly, and we split housework, food, necessities too. He is pretty insecure and when we aren't together he questions where I am, who I'm with, etc. But I'm never doing anything wrong, so I just tell him. He does act a bit weird and make weird comments if I've been hanging out with someone else, and he asks loads of questions. We play video games and cook together, etc., and I thought he was happy. He drinks a lot whereas I only drink socially, at pubs and outside of the house, and I never get drunk because I hate the feeling the next day. Last night we were playing a game and he was drinking. He doesn't have work today, so he was having a bit more than usual, and he kept dying at one part and getting frustrated, not angrily like jokingly laughing at himself. After a while he gave me the controller and jokingly said, "If you do it first time I'm dumping you." As soon as I took it off him he said, "Then again I know you wouldn't give a shit if I dumped you." I froze, as that came completely out of nowhere. Said of course I would, what do you mean? And he said, no, I know you wouldn't give a shit, forget it, and wouldn't talk about it. I have work today and went to bed at 10:30. Came crashing in at 1 AM and flopped on top of me, then fell asleep snoring loudly beside me. I couldn't sleep because he was so loud. I tried lifting his pillow, etc., all the usual stuff, but after 2 hours I got up and went to sleep in the lounge where it was quiet. I've texted him today asking what he meant by it and he's still not answering. It made me feel like a shit GF and really knocked my confidence. I would never say something like that to him. If I had an issue, is discuss it like an adult. I've never done anything bad to him or given him any reason to distrust me. I feel like he doesn't see any of the effort I put into being in the relationship as having any value. It's freaked me out so much as it was completely out of nowhere. I feel like a shit GF when I thought I was giving the relationship my all. What can I do about this if he won't discuss it? TL, doctor. My BF stated completely out of the blue that he knows I wouldn't care if he dumped me. I'm really freaked out. We don't argue. I give the relationship 100%. I'm extremely loyal. He refuses to discuss it further. People with alcohol problems do this all the time. They blurt out whatever random feelings pop into their head and get stuck on them until they sober up. They'll say the most atrocious things to you, hurtful things that have zero basis in reality, just because their drunk brain tells them to. And they'll wake up the next day and be totally fine, with only a vague memory if they have any memory at all. They may sheepishly apologize when confronted, but hand wave it away as them just being drunk and stupid and not want to discuss it further. If your boyfriend is a heavy drinker, this is going to keep happening. Think hard about how you want to handle it. You seem to be entirely focused on how you can change yourself and work hard to be perfect for him, and think this comment can only mean that you have failed to be a good enough girlfriend. But everything you say about him indicates that he is being a pretty shit boyfriend. Maybe there's actually a ton of stuff he does to work hard to be a good boyfriend for you, ways in which he also tries to take an interest in your hobbies, etc., but it very much doesn't come across in what you've written. You sound like someone who thinks playing the role of the good girlfriend is more important than actually being happy yourself. You say it yourself, you would never treat him like this. That he is treating you like this is a failure on his part, not yours. You can't fix the fact that he's behaving unacceptably by yourself. You can only make it clear that it is unacceptable, i.e., you won't accept it, and he either fixes it or he goes. He can't not talk about this. It's that simple. It's not allowed. He has to be able to explain himself, even if the explanation is just I was drunk and sad and said something stupid and self-pitying that I regret, and I'm sorry for that, or he's failing as your boyfriend. You need to make that totally clear. This is not something you're willing to ignore. Either he addresses it or he keeps his silence at the cost of the relationship. It doesn't have to be a big dramatic thing, but you have to firm. It's really bumming me out that he's being a huge asshole to you and your reaction is to try and figure out what you did wrong. While you're trying to be a perfect girlfriend, what's he doing for you? From your post he sounds like an insecure, controlling, passive-aggressive drunk. This is the same dude who micromanages your spending and purposely doesn't leave you space in the freezer even when you specifically ask him to. He sounds terrible tbh. How do I, 24F, tell my bigoted roommate, 25M, that the rest of us, 20s, MF, don't want to renew a lease with him? Sorry if the formatting is weird. I'm on mobile. Me and all my roommates are all graduate students and the hunt for housing for the next academic year starts around next month. The original plan was that all four of us would stick together and find a new place once the lease for our current place ends. Well, one of my roommates, John, is a bigot. Not like crazy MAGA level, but his views are harmful and he's made it clear he isn't willing to consider other perspectives. It's almost comical that he is so blatantly racist, sexist, and homophobic/transphobic to his queer brown roommate, me. John waters down these views when he talks to our other roommates, so at first I hesitated to tell them how I felt for fear I would be told I'm overreacting and that John is just conservative. I've already tried talking to John about the things he says and I have made it clear that he makes me uncomfortable when he says something bigoted, but he'll just shrug and say, well, I'm from Georgia, as if there aren't queer people of color in Georgia. It is honestly so exhausting trying to teach someone who doesn't want to learn, and it's worse that he purposefully only forces me to listen to his BS but is more or less harmless to our white roommates. Got worse over the winter break and it was just too much for me. I told my other roommates that I was planning on leaving the group once the lease ends because John makes me so incredibly uncomfortable. Turns out that my other roommates didn't like that he was doing that to me, and they said that they'd rather the three of us move on without John. I've already started looking for places and the three of us are all excited to move, but none of us know how to tell John that he isn't welcome to join us when we move. It's going to be awkward no matter what, because even if we don't tell him the reason why, it'll be clear that we don't want to be around him. There is no easy way to say it, but none of us even know how to say it, let alone say it nicely. I'll probably be the person to break the news to him and I doubt my other roommates would let me do it alone, but I don't know what to say. I doubt I'm the only person who has gone through this, so I'm just hoping for some advice and suggestions about what I should do. Too long didn't read. My roommate is a bigot, I'm a minority. How do me and my open-minded roommates tell the bad apple he can't renew a lease with us? It could be good to frame it as a benefit for him. We know how you feel about queer puck and we wouldn't want you stuck living with one for more time, so we're gonna get our own place and you can find a better aligned group to room with. Or, honestly, be straightforward with it. You make me really uncomfortable with your comments. Tried to talk about it but you weren't willing to change, so we decided it would be better to move out on our own so our home isn't a place of stress. TBH, someone who acts like that doesn't deserve to have their feelings cautioned. Still though, I know it can be uncomfortable. Best of luck. Why isn't this a job for your white roommates? From a practical POV, he gets along with them better so he will probably react better to it coming from them because he's, you know, racist. They don't even have to say why to try and keep things from escalating. They can just say we're not renewing our lease here, and if he asks to move with they can say we prefer to rent in the group we formed. It'll probably cause less stress and tension in the house until you can all move. From a moral POV, they knew what he was doing and did nothing to stop it. And now you've explicitly told them he makes you uncomfortable and it's on you. the person he's racist and homophobic towards, to break bad news to him? They need to stop being cowards and take on some of the burdens you've been carrying. Sheesh. Keep it simple and don't give him details. Hey John, just wanted to let you know that we're not renewing the lease when it's up. You should have plenty of time to find another place before then. You've already spent a lot more time and energy worrying about John's feelings than he's spent worrying about any of yours. If he's bold enough to be openly hateful to his roommates, he should be thick-skinned enough to take a rejection in stride, right? /sigh. You know the people lashing out the hateful rhetoric are 11/10 times the ones whose skin is as thick as single-ply wet toilet paper. But this guy is right up. You don't have to give him the courtesy he hasn't given you. If he thinks you're being curt, just shrug and say, well, I'm not from Georgia. Also I'm from Atlanta, GA. That place is literally super gay. He has no reason to act like being from GA makes you a bigot. People like John don't deserve to be let down gently, nor does it work. You don't have to bring it up though the next time he gets going. Wait until he takes a breath and tell him that you've made it clear you are uncomfortable, that he is openly insulting your very existence, and it would be best for both of you to remain civil but avoid each other until the lease ends and you go your separate ways. You don't have to elaborate, nor do you owe him any more explanation than that. When he inevitably starts thinking about his housing for the next year, he'll talk to your other housemates. All they need to say is they have made other arrangements. No one needs to engage with him. When you make it clear to him that you will not be living with him after the lease ends, it should also be a signal to him that it is something he needs to think about. If he doesn't, and doesn't make arrangements on time, that's on him entirely. My mom stole $8,500 from our business account to spend at the casino. My 22F mom 45F and I have been in business together for a year and a half. Just a small online business, and we also do craft shows. Just under a year ago we started getting big and serious enough to open a business account. We put all our money into it and just started using that for everything for the business obviously. I never check it much because she handles everything money related when it comes to ordering things we need and such. I honestly went months without logging in, and right after we opened the account is when COVID hit, so it was a pretty slow time. In December I happened to log in to transfer money to give myself a paycheck and noticed 2 pending transactions for that day. One for $600 and one for $1,050, which said the casino name. I texted her and asked if she was at the casino and she said no. I said, well, there's these 2 charges from our business account for today and one says the casino, and she admitted and said she would put the money back when she got home because she didn't want my dad to see. I was super annoyed, but I thought if she put it back it's whatever. Fast forward to a few days ago. I looked at our bank account and we only had $300 in it, which should have been around like $9K or so. So I looked back through all the transactions since we opened the account and it added up to $8,500 was gone from the account over time. All from casino ATMs. I'm not confrontational at all, like I'll cry immediately in an argument no matter how hard I try not to. I see her tomorrow in person and I plan to bring this up. I don't know what to say or how to say it. Considering she's my mom and I don't have a choice but to stay in business with her as it's my only income. Too long didn't read. My mom stole $8,500 from our business account to spend at the casino and I plan to confront her tomorrow, but am very non-confrontational and don't know what to say or how bring it up.